This is the new 2022 McLaren 765LT. The McLaren long tail has been applied to some of the most exciting supercars ever, whether they come from the days of Ian Gordan Murphy's F1 or most recent additions like the 675LT and the 600LT. Already ruthlessly fast and engaging in equal measure, asking how far a hardcore LT version could really go, and McLaren have answered our prayers with the 765LT. Looking through the small peephole in the rear deck, you spot the thirsty 4-litre version of McLaren's Ricardo-built V8, but here tuned to somewhere between the 720S and Senna. It takes the forged pistons and stronger gasket and updates on the oil pump. It exhales through a titanium exhaust system which produces a huge 755 brake horsepower coupled with 590 pound-feet of torque. The gearbox is the usual 7-speed twin clutch unit, but the ratios have been made shorter to benefit the acceleration. 0 to 60 takes just 2.8 seconds, while 0 to 125 miles an hour is a mind-blowing 7 seconds flat. Yet the fact that the 765LT has more power than the regular 720S, almost an irrelevance to a necessary inclusion to justify its standing in the range and the price tag, but arguably of the secondary importance to the changes found with the LT's aero, chassis and weight saving measures. The car is an impressive 80 kg lighter, with the overall weight being 1,339 kg, thanks to a range of measures that have been taken and stripped back. The wheels are lighter, the glazing is 0.8mm thinner, the rear window is made from polycarbonate, the floor, front and rear bumpers are carbon fibre, as is almost everything you touch on this car. And much of the rear of the car is open to the elements, not only to save weight but to let heat out. The LT produces around 25% more downforce than the 720S, with the overhanging front splitter that contributes most of the additional 48mm in the car's length. There are side blades to manage the air extensions behind the rear wheels to keep turbulence away from the rear diffuser, and a rear wing that sits higher in the airstream and flips up at the rear of the blade. It also doubles as an air brake under heavy braking. McLaren has retained the proactive chassis control 2 setup, but lowered the front by 5mm and widened the front track, and recalibrating the dampers to suit this. And the brake calipers from the Senna are standard fit, with the Senna's carbon discs are optional, same of the lightweight and supportive seat. The LT's cabin is smoothened in Alcantara, stripped back with less carpet and entirely focused on the task of driving. That's just as well when you stop to consider the 755 brake horsepower under your right foot, something that happens for the first time when you climb into these bucket seats. A 5-point harness further clamps you in place, and the scaffold work of the Club Sport package frames the view aft in the rear view mirror. The V8 peeping through these holes, and the driving position couldn't be more perfect for fast driving. There is no significance about the 765LT's purpose in life. In fact, its sheer sense of focusing is intoxicating. Of course, it's shockingly fast. On a large open track, rarely has a car been able to shrink a hanger straight away like this one does. Exiting in 4th gear onto the track, in the meat of the power band, and the car simply shrinks the horizon behind you. The gear shifts are virtually immediate. The paddles perfectly sized and situated. The real triumph of the LT is that it can operate on many different levels. Obviously, the outer reaches of its performance is ferocious. With the aid of enlightened traction and stability control systems, it can give you as much rope as you dare and still be there to help you get out of trouble. However, if you want a bit more fun and play, you can switch things right off, which simulates the LT becoming a complete hooligan on the throttle. The sheer grip that the car can generate does take somewhat getting used to, but once you've dialed into this and have the confidence to exploit the amazing braking powers offered over from the Senna setup, you can carry terrific speed through a corner. Even the smallest throttle lift or steering impact makes a huge difference to your trajectory. And what's also deeply impressive is how the LT's brakes and tyres stand up to repeated abuse without even the first sign of fade. It's the sort of car, once you're lapping at speed, you really don't want to come back into the pits. On the road, the performance it proposes is completely mind-blowing. Where you would expect it to be too low and too stiff, the stability system is brilliantly effective and tremendously flattering. There's no need to turn it off in a road scenario. Experience intense, cold, damp roads, but you really can trust it. That's bonkers when you consider what we've just seen being unleashed through the rear wheels of a light mid-engine car. Yet the talking point the moment you extract yourself from the 765LT is its steering. It's perfectly lightweight regardless of your speed and how the calm feedback isn't impacted by pace. It's far too fast for the road, but due to its unmatched combination of perfect driving position, chassis balance and stability stability systems, it truly is a masterpiece of modern supercars. McLaren will build 765 examples each of the 765 LT Coupe and Spider, around 280,000 to 300,000. Gone are the days when Ferrari and McLaren produced direct rivals, with both shaking things up with the various models they produced. Ferrari's similarly priced 296 GTB is powered by a V6 hybrid, and a brutally impressive one at that, with its intense performance and defined character. It's not as raw or pure as the McLaren though, but when fitted with the optional packages that bundles some lightweight options with an expensive set of multi-dampers, still lacks the edge of this McLaren. Lamborghini's Huracan STO is closer in its terms of ethics itself. A spectacular example of a hardcore road-going special with its staggering levels, a defined and detailed message there. Priced from 260,000, it's also fairly close on price. But the difference between the Lamborghini and McLaren as the extra drama of the STO's exotic soundtrack and responsive comes with a drop in performance. However, I did just say the McLaren was far too fast for the road. Porsche's new 911 GT-RS is another good candidate, coming in at 180,000, one that costs around 100k less in price. As a track tool though, it's hard to see how Porsche will deliver this on the road. But wait, you can, by watching my new Porsche GT3 RS video review. Click right here to do so.